Final Destination 2. There is no killer in this film. A logging truck, loose chains, and gravity. Route 23 stretches out under a gray morning sky. The survivors think they got lucky and walked away. Then death keeps finding them. A fire escape ladder through Evan's eye. A glass pane crushes Tim. An elevator closes on Nora, and an airbag drives Kat into a pipe. You start checking your own ceiling after this. This is the detail. Nothing here was random. Rory talks, mid-sentence, then the fence snaps. Wire flies, and he comes apart. That flying wire fence is why death itself became the real villain. Nothing you survive buys you anything. Nothing on that highway looks alive. That is what makes it worse. The highway had no face, the next street has one, and it never speaks. Halloween. Michael Myers never runs and never speaks. He arrives and the room stops being yours. Haddonfield sits quiet under the autumn dark. Michael is moving from house to house, unhurried. You keep waiting for him to react, but he never does. Aaron and Dana die inside the gas station restroom. Vicky thinks it's a prank, until he rises behind her. Then, Oscar is left hanging on the fence. But here's the truth. He feels absolutely nothing. One move, no hesitation, the boot comes down. Then Dr. Sarton's skull gives way beneath it. That single boot shows what this version of Michael is, pure, silent emptiness. Nothing about him ever needs a reason. He walks away like he stepped over a puddle. Michael never enjoys a second of it. The next killer enjoys all of it. Child's Play 2. A doll should not be able to hold a knife. Chucky uses whatever is closest. Chicago is quiet again after 2 years of chaos. Andy has a new home and thinks it is over. Chucky suffocates Mattson with a plastic bag. He makes Phil fall down the basement stairs. Then Chucky stabs Miss Kettlewell with an air pump and beats her with a yardstick. This is where the movie lies to you. The Good Guy Factory. A worker screams, then plastic doll eyes replace his own. You never look at a toy factory the same way again. That factory of doll eyes is why Chucky became a childhood betrayal. Every smiling doll feels different now. 100 identical faces watch him smile back. Chucky weaponizes childhood. The next killer turns cruelty into performance. Terrifier 2. Every killer in these films wants you dead. Art the Clown wants an audience instead. Miles County settles in for a quiet October night. Art the Clown is in town, watching and waiting. The coroner dies first, then the costume shop vendor. Jeff and Brooke are murdered at the amusement park. Allie's mother finds what is left of her daughter. Later, Art shoots Barbara at the Shaw house. But here's the truth. He's only getting started. Alone in her bedroom, Art destroys Allie. He leaves, comes back, because Art is never finished. You look away, and the movie does not. That slow return is why Art became cruelty itself. He is never in a hurry to finish you. Art is the only one who enjoys it. Art makes pain feel improvised. The next killer designs it before it starts. Saw 3. Jigsaw is dying in a bed down the hall. The room still kills you. Across different rooms and tests, Jigsaw's machines are already waiting. Troy wakes with chains hooked through his body. The bomb will not wait for anyone at all. Carrie follows every instruction and dies anyway. Danica freezes helplessly while Jeff decides for her. This is the detail. The machine warns you. You catch yourself doing the math on a stranger. Arms first, then Timothy's legs, then his neck. The rack keeps turning. That turning rack is why Jigsaw truly became a test. The machine does all the cruelty for him. Jigsaw never touches him and it never matters. Jigsaw needs a machine to do it. The next film lets the body destroy itself. Evil Dead. The evil starts outside the cabin, but the people inside do all the damage themselves. A cabin sits at the end of a dirt road. Mia is here to detox. Olivia mutilates her face, then attacks Eric. Eric kills her, but the damage never stops. Natalie cuts off her infected arm, but possession keeps spreading anyway. David blows up the cabin, sacrificing himself to stop the possessed Eric. But the truth, the sky opens and rains blood. The abomination rises, one pull. Mia loses her hand, then the chainsaw splits its skull. You've never seen rain like that. That final chainsaw split turns the blood rain into the movie's last brutal death. The monster falls. The blood rain finally stops. One thing hunted that cabin. The next film has 2 and they don't share. Freddy vs. Jason. The people dying in this movie are not the target. They are just the argument. Springwood has almost forgotten Freddy's name by now. He sends Jason to Elm Street to wake the fear. Jason cuts through a rave as panic spreads. Mark burns inside Freddy's dream. Kia mocks Freddy and Jason throws her into a tree. This is the detail. Trey never even saw it. Jason grabs Trey, one grab, then he folds him backward, into his own bed. That backward fold tells you the victims are just score points in a war between monsters. You are cheering, and you know you shouldn't be. Two rivals, and neither one notices him fall. These two turned victims into score points. The next desert turned survival into savagery. The hills have eyes. The desert does not just create monsters, it turns a father savage. The New Mexico desert stretches out empty for miles. Doug seems harmless here, passing through. Big Bob burns, tied to a tree. The trailer is invaded and Ethel and Lynn are shot. Sist falls under the Axe's pick. Beast kills Big Brain, and Ruby sends Lizard off the cliff. But here's the truth. Doug grabbed an axe. One swing. Doug corners Pluto, then buries Pluto's own axe deep in his head. You cheer for that swing, then hear yourself. That axe swing is why Doug Carter became something new. Survival here finally stops looking like survival at all. Doug survives by becoming brutal enough to fight back. The desert makes survival brutal. The next death begins with a question. Scream. In this movie, the killer calls before he arrives, and he asks you questions. Woodsboro looks like any other quiet suburb tonight. Casey is finally home alone when the phone starts ringing. Steve is gutted, tied to a chair. The garage door kills Tatum. Kenny's throat is cut at the van. Their plan collapses, and Sydney drops a television onto Stu. You know the answer, but it never saves her. This is the detail. One wrong answer decides everything. Chased, stabbed outside, then left hanging from the tree for her parents. That hanging body is why the opening became legendary. Ghostface turns the first scene into a warning. That tree is the last image Woodsboro forgets. Casey almost reaches safety. The next killer waits where no lock can reach. A Nightmare on Elm Street. In this film, sleep is not a break. Sleep is the appointment you cannot miss. Elm Street looks ordinary in the daylight. Nancy keeps dreaming of the same man every night. Tina is dragged up the walls and across the ceiling. Rod watches the wounds open with nothing there to cause them. Later, he hangs inside his own cell. But here's the truth. Nobody stays awake forever. Glenn closes his eyes. Too late. Then the bed pulls him down. Blood erupts toward the ceiling. You remember the blood before you remember anything else. That rising fountain is why Freddy turned sleep into a death sentence. Nowhere is safe once you close your eyes. There is no version of Glenn that survives. Freddy finds you when you sleep. The next killer waits at a camp that should have stayed closed. Friday the 13th? No hockey mask in this film. Not yet, and the camp still empties out. Camp Crystal Lake should have stayed shut for good. Something has clearly returned to the woods around it. Annie's throat is cut in the woods. Marcy takes an axe to the face. Bill is pinned to a door with arrows. Brenda is lured by a voice. You wait for the mask that never comes. This is where the movie lies to you. Jack lies back. A hand. The mattress moves. Then the arrow drives through his neck. That hand under the mattress is why the killer feels everywhere before Pamela ever steps into the light. Alice takes her head off and the camp goes quiet. One camp empties in the dark. The last film opens every monster's door at once. The cabin in the woods. Under the cabin, men in a control room are watching. Soon they are the body count. Another cabin waits at the end of another dirt road. Dana reads aloud from an old family journal. Jules is decapitated by the Buckner family. Kurt attempts a heroic jump at the canyon and hits an invisible wall instead. Holden is stabbed inside the RV. You spent this film watching the wrong monsters, but here's the truth. The system was never safe. One purge, every cage opens. Then Hadley meets his merman. A werewolf turns on Dana. That final purge is why this film became horror's last word on itself. Every monster gets one final massacre. The ground splits open and a hand reaches up for the cabin.